All right, YouTube. So today we're going to record a short video about the Modern Challenge today. I top 8'd today's Modern Challenge and kind of ran through the Swiss, to be frank. I played this build of this deck here, which, like you said, if on my tweet that I got from when Lawrence Harmon was playing a Delver deck with Bob in it, and then Chad Harney took that Bob Delver deck and added Stifles to it. And then I kind of just gravitated towards that deck because I didn't want to play a Jund kind of Delver deck, which is I felt like the Grixis Delver decks had turned into. And I just wanted to play a deck that, was lower to the ground and could actually tempo people out. And that's where these came in. These Stifles were great all day. I went and I looked back through the challenge, and I was 10-0 on the play. I won every single game where I was on the play because this deck can play similar to like a Rug Delver kind of deck, but your off color isn't embarrassing. Like green is embarrassing in Legacy, I think. And it kind of sucks. But like Tarmogoyf isn't what it used to be. When you can play Young Pyromancer, Edict out of the sideboard is really important. Bobs to refuel your hand and bury your opponent is also really important. And then Bitterblossom is like the best grindy card in the format. And Angler's just kind of there. Like I wanted to cut the Angler and play 4 True Names, but I didn't end up doing that because I hadn't tried it. And there were some times where Angler saved my butt throughout this tournament. So I think having one of them is good, even though it can be kind of a non-ball with Bob. The first round of the tournament, I beat an Esper Stoneblade deck. The Esper Stoneblade deck just had like a super fragile mana base, in my opinion. Hey, how's it going, Farby? It was just a really fragile mana base that was revolved around like an Esper color deck that had white, blue, black, the Baleful Strix, Plow, Stoneforge Mystic, True Name, Jace, and then like discard spells on one that also had Wasteland. So kind of the mana denial plan was really good against that deck. It was just kind of how you just attack their mana base and their whole deck just kind of fumbled. In the second round of the day, I played against Grixis Control, which was another deck where I just kind of destroyed their mana base. Again, like that's the part of the game that I could win on. Just get out ahead and then play like, one of these 6/2 drops that just end the game. The third round of the tournament, I played against an aggro loam opponent, which I actually won, even though being on the draw in game one. It's kind of like a really good Delver draw. Just basically didn't resolve anything. And then on the play, I just kind of tempoed them out by blowing up a Mox, wastelanding them, spell piercing. So they didn't have any lands. I just eliminated their land, their wasteland, and then blew up a Mox. And they only had 1 Mox left, and they just couldn't really do anything. And ended up drawing Bob and burying them. It's kind of cool how this deck plays similar to like Rug Delver, in where you can't actually like close a game because you don't have 8 1-mana threats like the Rug Delver deck does. But Stifle can like set your opponent so far behind that even though these 2 drops are slower, they will still just take over the game in separate ways. Like this will create, an overwhelming board precedence. This will create an overwhelming card advantage, which will make your cantrips better because even if you have a bunch of bad cards, that filtering works with your brainstorms. So then in round 3, I played against, it's a little foggy, but let me look here. In round 3, I played against, I've got it written right here. Round 3, I played against 12 Post and just kind of delvered them out. The Stifles weren't that good, so they ended up getting sideboarded out, which is another kind of issue with this deck that I want to talk about in a bit. But I just kind of had a Delver game, like, Daze this, Wasteland this, Force of Will, the thing that's important, and then beat with a Delver. So won that game, won that 2-0. played against Grixis Phoenix, and just kind of like won the die roll and just mana denialed them out in game 2. And then I drew enough sideboard cards, or game 1, drew enough sideboard cards in game 2 to beat them, even though I thought my opponent was very good, which I'll lead to later. And then after that, I played against Mono Red Prison, and again, the Mono Red Prison matchup was, kind of do you have it or do you not in order to deal with our lock pieces. And in each game, I got out ahead with a Delver, and on the draw, I had the necessary tools to beat them. Round 7, I just scooped to go eat, because at 6-1, I'm in no matter what. And because of this, the dumb Magic Online not caring about seeding, there's no incentive to being 7-0 versus 6-1. You're all basically the same, which I'll get on my horse about again in a bit. Round 8, I was the number 2 seed going in. I got the draw, and I ended up losing a really close match to Grixis Phoenix. Game 1, they just kind of had it. Like they had the Phoenix draw. I just didn't quite have enough to interact with them, which can happen in game 1. You don't have all the necessary tools. And being on the draw also hurts. Game 2, I just destroyed them. Like, mana denial. Like, just played that Delver game, which is like something that I think this deck has to do, because you can't just sit there and be big Jund in the format, I think, or little Jund, I guess. How's it going, Jay? You can't be little Jund in this format with Dark Depths, and with Dark Depths, and that'll just like eventually get time to kill you. Decks like Miracles that'll go over the top of you. So the fact that I just got under them and just locked them out of the game was really great. Then in game 3, I just lost a really close game where my opponent had an Izzet Staticaster, and I didn't realize how good Staticaster was against this deck, but it is very good. So they ended up beating me. It was really frustrating that Magic Online doesn't do play draw. I really don't understand why, but had it done play draw, I would have been on the draw all the way up until I played a Stoneblade opponent, which was the number 1 seed, even with this loss that I just conceded. Like not playing for anything in round 7. But like, I'll just say that if I'd have won that, I'd have been on the play the entire time, and I would have felt really confident. I went 10-0 while on the play during this event. And I think this deck is just the Stifle aspect. That being said, some kind of changes that I would make moving forward. I think that you need to have cards in the sideboard that are acceptable to be able to bring in when these aren't good. Your deck is so good on the play and really bad on the draw. Like these Bobs, these 2 drops here, they aren't good on the draw. We don't have preordains to pair with Young Pyromancer. Bob can get beat down. We need like substitutions. So I think like moving forward in my sideboard, like I had these kind of 2 grindy value cards here. I think that these probably have to go, and you have to play something like Inquisition of Kozilek's that can just automatically come in on the draw against most decks and be fine. That you can just cut these Stifles for, because these Stifles are they're just not good on the draw. You need because like in every matchup you're gonna have cards you can bring in, but you kind of might need some auto cards that you can bring in to just get the Stifles out of your deck. Because between Stifle, Daze, and 6 2-drop creatures, you just need so much help on the draw that you need to fix it in the sideboard. And maybe like these creatures are really good in like the Jundish kind of builds, the bigger builds. I think that they probably have to become a necessary evil to work with this deck. So after talking about that, we're going to run and play some more leagues. I want to break the YouTube videos up though.